nothing interesting to say. I look insane.
Poor Zegler.
It's kind of sinking in more and more that tomorrow is happening and the trailer is coming out.
I deserve to be paid for every single one.
What an idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea what she's doing.
The internet is not my biggest fan. It never has been, but especially isn't these days. I've made some stupid choices.
Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. It's Hollywood, baby.
It's the kind of whisper that spreads fast in Hollywood. Quiet, cautious, but absolutely explosive.
I don't need your business. Thanks.
According to multiple insiders close to the production, the studio behind Rachel Zegler's latest film is reportedly considering what just weeks ago would have sounded unthinkable, recasting the lead mid-shoot.
Everyone's just ignoring my phone calls. Whatever, it's chill. I don't even care.
Not because of creative differences, not because of illness or emergency, but because working with Rachel Zegler has allegedly become so difficult, so volatile, that producers are running out of options. And here's the kicker, they're not denying it.
I'm a very talented, capable individual. I'm here for a reason. I can do it.
The official line remains vague, filled with phrases like adjusting timelines and creative restructuring, but behind the scenes, it's panic. Quiet meetings, escalating legal reviews, and a growing feeling that this film may not survive Rachel Zegler.
Cry me a river, she's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
From the outside, it looked like a comeback. After the Snow White disaster torched her public image and turned her into a viral meme machine for all the wrong reasons, this was her shot at redemption. A stripped-down indie drama. A powerhouse co-star in Marisa Tomei. A script that didn't rely on CGI or nostalgia bait, but on character and chemistry. It was supposed to prove that Zegler had the range, the maturity, and the professionalism to move past the controversies. But instead, it's déjà vu.
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Another film, another meltdown, and another PR nightmare threatening to swallow the project whole. Except this time, insiders say the damage is beyond repair, and the producers know it. And let's be clear, studios don't even mention the word recast unless something has gone terribly, catastrophically wrong. It's a nuclear option. It burns budget, it wrecks schedules, it risks the entire investment. But the fact that it's even on the table, that tells you everything you need to know about just how bad things have allegedly gotten. Some say Zegler has lost the room. Others say she never had it to begin with.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it. All right.
Either way, the murmurs are growing louder. This film is hanging by a thread, and that thread might snap unless something changes. Fast. So what exactly went wrong this time? According to insiders, it didn't start with a blowout. It started with eye rolls. Subtle, passive, but constant. From the very first week on set, crew members noticed a familiar energy. Rachel Zegler allegedly treating the process like she was doing everyone else a favor. One lighting tech reportedly said she'd walk in late, iced coffee in hand, acting like she was above it all. Another member of the production claimed, "It's like the rest of us were just props in the Rachel show." And it didn't take long before that energy started infecting everything. Rehearsals, scene work, even the vibe between castmates.
Studios really need to go back to what they originally did, which was tell your stars to shut up and not say things, because no one is paying to hear your star say offensive things off the screen.
Sources say Zegler clashed early with the director, Julia von Heinz, not directly at first. More in the way she'd allegedly sigh at creative notes, push back on blocking, and openly question the story's direction. Then came the rewrites. Multiple people close to the production claim Zegler demanded changes to her dialogue, sometimes mid-shoot, because she didn't feel the scenes were empowering enough. Never mind that the script had been locked, or that she wasn't the lead. She wanted the focus, the emotional arcs, the best lines. It wasn't a collaboration, it was a takeover, and it allegedly brought the momentum of the entire film grinding to a halt. But things truly spiraled when a key co-star, someone described as the emotional anchor of the film, reportedly walked off set. Not in a dramatic shouting match kind of way, in a quiet, controlled, final straw kind of way.
Now looking like it is seriously on life support.
One crew member called it chilling. Another said, "That's when we knew this wasn't going to end well." The actor, a respected industry veteran, allegedly refused to continue working with Zegler until the situation was handled. That's studio speak for, get her under control or I'm out. And apparently, the studio couldn't or wouldn't. Because the next thing anyone knew, cameras stopped rolling. and the rumors of a recast began swirling. And this wasn't just an isolated walk-off. The ripple effects were instant and brutal. The moment that co-star exited, the vibe on set reportedly collapsed. Morale tanked. The crew began rotating shifts to avoid time near Zegler's trailer. Departments that once moved like clockwork, makeup, wardrobe, sound, started lagging. One assistant described it bluntly, toxic. That's the only word for it. Even minor scheduling tasks became a nightmare because no one wanted to be the next target of what they called Rachel's unfiltered moods.
I'm gonna be on a talk show tonight and I'm gonna talk shit about them on the talk show. Talking shit on the talk show.
It wasn't just diva behavior. It was disruption on a scale that stopped the creative process cold. What made it even worse? Zegler allegedly didn't care. According to several sources, she brushed off the tension entirely, claiming she was the one being undermined, that she was misunderstood, and even reportedly accused crew members of sabotaging her energy. And when the studio tried to control the narrative, it all unraveled even faster. Their official line, scheduling conflicts, landed like a joke, because everyone watching from the outside could tell what was really happening. When your lead actress is beefing with the director, alienating the cast, and walking off in the middle of takes, that's not a conflict. That's a meltdown. But here's the kicker. This wasn't her movie. She wasn't the center of the story. She was the daughter in a mother-daughter drama meant to showcase Marisa Tomei's depth and subtlety. And yet, somehow, Rachel Zegler made the entire thing about her, again. Because every time she steps onto a set, the same pattern follows. Collaboration breaks down, egos collide, and the movie takes a backseat to damage control. And this time, there's no billion-dollar Disney machine to sweep the drama under the rug, no Snow White marketing push to bury the problems, just a modest indie film, suffocating under the weight of her behavior.
According to reports, Gal and Rachel got along during filming. It's afterwards that things took a turn.
And then came the silence. The kind of silence that only happens when the industry decides it's no longer worth protecting you. No tweets, no Instagram posts. Not a single co-star, not even Marisa Tomei, stepped forward to offer the usual boilerplate defense. Rachel is a joy to work with. She's passionate and talented. Set dynamics are always complicated. Nothing. Zero. It was a PR vacuum, and in Hollywood, that's code for you're on your own. Because when people start backing away like that, it means they've already seen the behind-the-scenes footage, and they don't want their name anywhere near the mess. Even more telling, industry veterans, directors, stylists, former collaborators started quietly removing her from their highlight reels. A producer who once gushed about her star quality reportedly scrubbed their social media of Zegler mentions entirely. A prominent casting director allegedly told their team she's not worth the insurance risk, referring to her growing reputation for being disruptive and unpredictable. That's not gossip, that's damage assessment. And when the people who make careers in this town start labeling you as a liability, it means the machine has started moving on, without you. What's wild is that this was all avoidable. She Gets It From Me was supposed to be her shot at redemption, a low-key, emotionally rich film that could remind the public she had real talent underneath all the drama. Instead, insiders say she's trying to rewrite scenes mid-shoot, demanding longer screen time, and allegedly treating crew corrections like personal attacks. One source even claimed she said, "I'm not here to play second fiddle," when asked to reshoot a scene that focused more on Tomei's character. But this was never her vehicle to hijack, and now the studio is reportedly scrambling to contain the fallout. Because let's be honest, this isn't just a Rachel Zegler problem. It's a credibility problem, and that silence? That's everyone trying to protect their own careers from being caught in the crossfire.
Rachel Zegler is a no-name actress. She's barely been in anything, actually. If you look at her IMDb, West Side Story was the first one that... it was the first movie she was in, basically.
And just when it seemed like things couldn't spiral any further, the whispers started turning into something even uglier: legal exposure. Behind the scenes, production insiders claim the studio's legal department has been combing through Rachel's public outbursts, particularly the now infamous live stream, where she openly mocked the silence from the set and casually dropped lines like, "Everyone's just ignoring my phone calls. Whatever, it's chill. I don't even care." Problem is, she might have just admitted to everything the studio had worked overtime to keep buried. According to sources familiar with the project, Rachel signed a standard confidentiality and non-disparagement clause. You know, the kind that says you can't trash your own movie while it's still in production. But that's exactly what she did, publicly, and with a smirk. And this isn't just bad optics, it's breach of contract territory. Allegedly, the legal team has been documenting everything. The timing of her live streams, the TikToks that made light of the Onset drama, even the fan edits where she jokes about playing double the trouble. Because every time Rachel logs on to clear the air, she makes it worse. One source bluntly put it, "She basically made our internal HR nightmare go viral, and now there's a digital paper trail that could cost the studio millions. And while Rachel may think she's just venting, her words have consequences." Crew members have reportedly begun sharing their experiences, off the record, with third-party journalists. One assistant director allegedly said they felt genuinely unsafe during a scene where Rachel yelled at the director over a blocked shot. That's not creative tension, that's potential liability. Another crew member claimed the environment had become so toxic that several team members began rotating schedules just to avoid being near her trailer. At this point, the studio isn't just worried about finishing the film, they're worried about surviving it. Rumors are flying that lawyers are drafting a separation clause that would allow them to cut Rachel loose without a full reshoot, using stand-ins, rewrites, or even an off-screen narrative pivot to minimize her presence. If that sounds extreme, it's because it is.
That she believes that she should be able to express herself and speak her truth or whatever nonsense, regardless of the consequences to everybody else.
But when your lead actress becomes a legal risk, drastic suddenly becomes reasonable. And as the lawyers began circling, something else started to shift. Rachel Zegler's once loyal inner circle began unraveling in real time. Not with dramatic exits or cryptic tweets, but with an even colder, more calculated response. Total silence. Hollywood silence. The kind that isn't just awkward, it's strategic. Directors who once praised her boldness have gone radio silent. Co-stars who used to shout her out on Instagram haven't so much as liked a post in months. Even former red carpet allies seem to be conveniently dodging questions about her. And in a town where everyone's watching, that kind of disappearance doesn't go unnoticed. Industry insiders say Rachel's PR team, what's left of it, is in scramble mode. One rep allegedly quit after she ignored multiple warnings not to go live on social media again. Another insider claimed a crisis comms plan had been drafted weeks ago, including an official apology video, a tearful Vanity Fair profile, and even a pivot to mental health transparency. But Rachel, reportedly, shot it all down, said she wasn't going to play the game. And in doing so, she made sure she's now playing alone. The ripple effect has been brutal. One major fashion brand that had quietly signed Rachel for a spring campaign has now pulled all her images from upcoming releases. No explanation, no press release, just gone. That's not damage control, that's erasure. Other actors reportedly attached to her future projects have started asking for creative reassessment clauses in their contracts. Translation, I'll do the film, but don't put me in a scene with her. And one studio executive speaking anonymously said something that cuts deeper than any trending hashtag. She's not a star, she's a risk profile now. And here's the part that really lands like a punch. This wasn't supposed to happen. Rachel Zegler had the kind of Cinderella story that Hollywood used to dream about, plucked from obscurity, handpicked by Spielberg, launched into the spotlight with a voice that could carry stadiums. But somehow, the fairy tale got rewritten. And now, the industry that once built her up is doing what it does best when a story turns toxic. They vanish, quietly, strategically, and they don't look back. And if there was any remaining hope that Rachel might course correct, that maybe this was just a chaotic chapter before a reflective turnaround, it vanished the moment she doubled down.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
Because instead of laying low or stepping back, she marched straight into another spotlight and lit the match herself. This time, it came in the form of a now infamous TikTok, sarcastic, smug, and timed so poorly it almost felt like a dare. "There's two of me. Double the trouble, am I right?" she joked, referring to her dual role in She Gets It From Me. The comments lit up instantly, not with laughter, but with outrage. Because let's be real, nobody's laughing anymore. Not after walkouts, not after live stream rants, not after rumors of yelling matches and rewritten scripts, and definitely not after allegedly losing a respected co-star mid-shoot because of a toxic environment. At this point, every cheeky comment feels like a slap in the face to the people still trying to keep the film from imploding. One crew member allegedly said, "We're just trying to rap. She's out here making jokes like we're filming a reality show." Even her fans are struggling to spin it. The once defensive stands have gone quiet. Reddit threads that used to praise her raw authenticity now dissect every post with the kind of exhausted tone normally reserved for a fallen pop star. One viral comment summed it up. She doesn't need critics. She's her own PR disaster. It's brutal, and it's earned. Because here's the thing, at some point, defiance stops looking brave and starts looking self-destructive. Rachel had the perfect setup for a second chance. A lower-profile film with an Oscar-winning co-star and a director with a vision. All she had to do was show up, be professional, and let the work speak for itself. But instead, she turned the set into a battleground. A place where scripts got rewritten, scenes were reshuffled, and morale vanished faster than a production assistant on unpaid overtime. And what's wild is she still doesn't seem to understand why the backlash is growing, why each new update about the film is met with more side eyes than excitement. She's treating She Gets It From Me like another opportunity to challenge the system, but to everyone else, it looks like she's just challenging everyone's patience. But even as the recasting rumors gained traction, Rachel Zegler didn't flinch. She didn't issue a heartfelt statement. She didn't do damage control. She didn't even go quiet. No, she doubled down. In classic Zegler fashion, she posted another cryptic video, allegedly mocking the situation.
Rachel, did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, cry me a river. She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
A smug smile, a vague caption, a not-so-subtle jab about people overreacting to strong women. And that, more than anything, set the internet ablaze. Again, because the narrative she keeps pushing, that this is all because she's bold, empowered, difficult in a good way, isn't landing anymore. Audiences are exhausted. Industry insiders are frustrated. And even her defenders are realizing that her version of empowerment seems to leave scorched earth in every room she walks into. It's not confidence, it's entitlement. And no amount of Instagram poetry or feminist jargon can disguise the fact that she's allegedly tanking another production. Behind the scenes, studio execs are now reportedly caught in a power struggle. One faction allegedly wants to pull the trigger on recasting ASAP to save face, salvage the project, and send a message. The other, terrified of the backlash that might follow, they're walking a PR tightrope, trying to weigh the cost of keeping her against the optics of removing a Latina lead in the middle of a shoot. But the truth is, this situation isn't about identity, it's about behavior, and people are starting to say it out loud. One veteran producer allegedly told a colleague, "We've worked with strong women. We've worked with outspoken women. This isn't that. This is ego run wild." And when you consider how many women in Hollywood have carried entire productions with grace under fire, the comparison becomes even starker. Rachel isn't the rule, she's the exception. And not in a good way. Even the trades have started hinting at creative realignment and lead role evaluations. That's Hollywood speak for. She might be out. And fans, they're already fan casting her replacement like it's a game. Twitter threads with lists of actresses who could save the movie. Instagram edits with photoshopped posters. The public isn't asking if Rachel should go, they're imagining what the movie could look like once she's gone. And now, here we are, at the edge of the cliff, looking over what might be the end of Rachel Zegler's short-lived Hollywood reign. She Gets It From Me was supposed to be the quiet redemption arc, a character-driven reset. But instead of rebuilding, Zegler may have burned her last bridge, not with one scandal, but with a pattern that even her most loyal fans are struggling to ignore. Because let's be real, when every set you step on turns into a war zone, every press tour devolves into a soapbox rant, and every co-star allegedly walks away shaking their head, at what point do people stop making excuses? Hollywood isn't shy about cutting ties when reputations start bleeding money. And Zegler? She's not just a PR risk anymore. She's becoming a box office liability. Studios can't ensure chaos. Investors don't bankroll ego, and audiences don't forget the face behind the drama. If the rumors are true, and a recast really is on the table, then this isn't just another film fallout. This is the industry finally waking up, finally asking, what are we even getting in return? And the answer increasingly seems to be not enough, because Zegler hasn't shown growth. She hasn't demonstrated humility. She hasn't even acknowledged the wreckage she's left behind on project after project. Instead, she's stuck in a feedback loop of performative defiance, smirking through controversy like it's a brand strategy. But the audience isn't laughing anymore. They're done waiting for a turnaround that never comes. And the silence from Hollywood's elite, that's not support withheld. That's support revoked. So now we ask you, after Snow White's implosion, after months of mounting backlash, and now, with the fate of She Gets It From Me hanging by a thread, is it finally over for Rachel Zegler? Or will Hollywood give her yet another chance she may not deserve? Let us know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.